On my first guest in the studio, legend has it that a black and terrifying dog roams the coastline and countryside of East Anglia. The tale of Black Shuck is the inspiration for filmmaker and Norwich University of the Arts graduate Josh Trett, who is producing a short film in Norfolk. It stars Rebecca Grant, who you'll have seen in Holby City Doctors and Stanley's Lucky Man, and they're in the studio. Hello, both of you.
Hello.
How scared do we need to be?
Well, wait a few months and then you'll soon find out, and you tell me how scared you are.
Because Rebecca, did you know about Black Shuck before?
No.
Before you came?
No, I had to do my research after Josh approached me. But yeah, I was pretty spooked after the first reading.
Because where you're from, Nottingham, was it the Grey Lady you said?
I think it was Grey Lady or the White Lady in the park in Nottingham, which you'd had to watch out for. But I've now discovered that the Black Shuck resides in Norfolk. So
for the benefit of people who don't know the Black Shuck legend, just explain a little bit about it.
I think it has some religious roots, but it's just said there's several sort of versions of the tale that go back quite a few hundred years, and some people say, you see the black dog and then that means you're cursed and at some point you're going to die, and some people say that it's actually a good thing. Seeing the black dog means that it's going to protect you. So in our film we borrow several parts of that sort of legend to tell our story.
I didn't know the bit that Black Shuck might be there looking after you.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I only read that as I was sort of getting the idea for the film, but if it's supposed to sort of like guide women walking home late at night by themselves, sort of walk alongside them as a guardian.
Protection.
Yeah, but that's just another version of it. Yeah. Obviously, the more famous one is that it's a bit more horrific.
I was going to say, I almost started to feel quite relieved there because I'm quite good with dogs.
Maybe the Black Shuck was misunderstood.
Yeah.
He was misunderstood like the worst witch. But
so tell me about your character in this then.
Well, she's overcoming grief. So it's kind of. It puts like perspective on how she deals with her grief and how she overcomes that. And that grief is kind of how she deals with the Black Shuck kind of appearing and in her life, and
how many times
the loss of a loved one.
Yeah, how many times do you actually see Black Shuck yourself as the character?
As the character, I haven't
sort
counted.
of alluded to, not to give too much away, but we didn't want to just tell a story about a dog going around killing people. I think the best horror films are about something more, and that's why we chose to take this grief angle to a slightly darker thing. So
more of a psychological thriller.
It's like a manifestation of everything the character's going through. So it's alluded to, you sort of see glimpses of it here and there, and you never wonder, you're all the time wondering, is it there or is she just imagining it?
Do we actually see Black Shuck in this?
In the current version of the script, yes.
Yeah.
In one way or another, it's in the film.
Because sometimes the scariest things are the things you don't see.
True.
Yeah, and that's the method we're taking, is like, she feels like it's there and we're never wondering if it is.
Because that's what we do in life anyway. If something's not quite right and you don't know the facts, you just fill in the blanks with the worst case scenario.
Absolutely.
With
you
everything.
Constantly dub in, and that can drive you crazy. And I feel this kind of mindset relates to our version of the Black Shuck, is that this grief and this loss is almost driving her crazy. She doesn't know whether she's seeing this evil dog or not, or whether it is evil or not. So it's a huge question mark above her head. And
so there's a thought that Black Shuck might be trying to take advantage of her soul, her spirit, if you will, during her darkest moment.
Exactly. Is she going to run away with her soul, and is she going to be lost forever, or is she going to find answers in her life and find resolution? Who knows? So.
Yeah, and that's sort of the journey the character goes through. Is she's battling her inner demons, which is manifested as this sort of evil dog. So she's battling both parallel, really.
It's like, it reminds me of the Black Swan. That really scared me.
What's that one?
Natalie Portman. Is the Black?
Oh, I know. Yes, yeah.
I thought it was one of the most scary. It's the scariest. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen, because it does get into your head, but it also has that wonderful horror element as well. But it does get in there and makes you ask questions.
Do you scare easily?
It really depends what mood I'm in, or whether I'm hungry or not, or depends whether I've had my blood for that evening.
And what about you, Josh? Have you got nerves of steel?
I think so when it comes to horror movies. I think I'd go behind my parents' back and watch overrated films when I wasn't really supposed to, and that kind of thing. But every so often something will catch me off guard. It's terrifying.
I used to be, when I was 9 years old, I remember sitting downstairs by myself in the dark watching Nightmare on Elm Street. So I think I was tougher then than I am now. But yeah.
Oddly enough, a couple of times for New Year's I've been up in Scotland. There's a big manor house, and it really does date back. It's massive, and it's got all the stags' heads on the wall, and all the suits of armour and what have you, and all the spooky looking paintings. And I wander around. It doesn't bother me at all. If I hear something in the garden, my own backyard,
Little child going hello. There's no one there.
I have to shout out for my boys to go out. So I'm a bit like that. So tell me a little bit more about your background, Josh. We know that you've been to the Norwich University of the Arts.
Yes, that's where I studied film, and then before that I studied at college as well, so I pretty much studied it in education up until 2014. And then when I graduated, I made a few more short films and played them in festivals, both locally and in nationally and internationally as well. And I was a teacher for 3 years of film too.
Where did you do that?
East Norfolk, Sixth Form College.
Did you enjoy it? Was that good?
It was good, yeah. But then I wanted to sort of break out and be able to work on film stuff full time, so I work as a video producer now. And when I can, work on my own sort of passion projects like this one.
Oh, and Rebecca, what about your background? Because we've seen you on the television quite a lot, haven't we?
Well, I actually started out as a dancer in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Bombay Dreams, and I think I was 19 years ago. And then I got a part in that a year later, and then started doing plays at the Royal and Derngate in Northampton, Shakespeare plays, and then got to the West End with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and then with Christian Slater, which was really good fun.
Wow.
And then started doing TV, got into Holby from there. And yeah, just done a few regulars, and I'm auditioning. Can I tell you how I?
Please.
Met Josh?
Yes.
So my husband bought a business over here, OTW, a print manufacturer in Aylsham. So we moved up from London, and although, you know, I did a few plays while I was here in London, so I was travelling back and forth, I still was auditioning for London and LA from Norfolk. So as of late, I've just bagged a new manager in LA, and he sends me these audition tapes that I need to do, and he sends them off to Hollywood. So I called up Josh through a friend of mine, and he has helped me do these fantastic audition tapes, and I've sent them over to my manager, and he loves them. So every week we're like from Norfolk to Hollywood.
Wow.
So that's how we met. It's been brilliant.
Do you know what I think? You know, in a not too distant future, I'll be saying, "Oh, Rebecca Grant. Yeah, she came in the studio once. I knew her. I met her. You know, what was she like? Oh, dreadful woman.
Oh, dreadful woman.
What's weird about the script
rude.
as well is before sort of Rebecca approached the audition tapes, is I'd written the script for a male lead, and I was going to have a male character play the main role. And then when I was shooting these things for Rebecca, I thought I should be good for that. So I approached her and said, would you do this? And she said yes. So it wasn't, and I still had a male lead at that point. So then I had to go back and write the script and write it with her as the main.
Had you already cast the male lead and had to let him down gently?
Yes, but he was fine with it. Yeah,
I didn't know that. You had to let him down. I didn't know that. Sorry, whoever that was.
But now when I look back at it, it just makes sense story-wise and thematically that it's a female and it's a mother character in the script rather than a male, I think.
Now, when you go out, when you shoot this, is it going to be all set at night mainly? Is it going to be sort of dark?
It's a mix of day and dark and dusk as well, so we go between the two. We're shooting about a month's time, and so we're going to be in May by then, so we're going to be waiting a long time for dark, but we're shooting a bit of both.
Yeah. And how big a crew do you use for something like this?
It's quite a small crew. There's not many of us, and quite a lot of locations as well are quite small, so we're going to struggle to fit everyone in a room. But
the shots are quite intimate as well.
Yeah.
And when you're making a film like this, obviously you get your story, your storyboard. But what about budget? Is that difficult to come by?
That's always a challenge as a filmmaker. Even with everyone having cameras at hand now, they're still expensive to make. So our plan now is we're running an Indiegogo campaign, and we've had some generous donations on that already, and we're going to keep running that to the end of the month, and that's what we're relying on to make this film as good as it can be, really.
So how do we find out more about Indiegogo then for this film for you?
You can either go to Indiegogo's website and search the Black Shuck, or you can just Google Indiegogo Black Shuck. And if you go on the website, you can find all these different perks. So depending how much you put in, you get something in return, whether that's a special thanks on the credits or a DVD or a producer credit, depending how much you put in.
So pledge away, people of Norwich and Norfolk.
No cameo roles then.
Well, we could
I'm sure you can figure out something. We need a dog walker, don't we?
There you are. I can be your dog walker. No problem. And Rebecca, when you've made this, what's next on the cards for you?
Oh God! Well, what's next is that I just produced and was in a short film called Safe Space. and that's about human trafficking, survivors of human trafficking. And it was a phenomenal short film written by Ben Hyland. And that's just been sent out to festivals. So after The Black Shuck, we'll be hearing back from nominations, from festivals and selections and stuff like that. And hey, maybe by then we would have bagged a job in Hollywood.
You never know your luck, do you? No,
you just don't know from day to day.
The human trafficking, that is such a strong topic, because I met a young chap, he's now 15, 16 years old, he's Vietnamese.
Wow.
And he was captured and trafficked by these people who then locked him in a cannabis factory. And they didn't...
away a passport and everything.
Fortunately, they didn't sort of beat him up or attack him sexually, but they locked him up. And what they would do, apparently, they'd come back every now and then, fill the fridge up and go, but you wouldn't know how long the stuff in the fridge was going to have to last.
Right.
And then they'd stick him in the boot of a car and move him somewhere else.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I know.
I mean, how this project transpired was that I did a play by Eve Ensler, a one-woman show on a woman who was transported from Southeast Asia to this country. And it was a monologue on her stuck in that container. But I had to do some research and speak to a few people who'd been trafficked. And it's horrific. Imagine being promised... You come from a poor family, a desperate family, and some agent comes to you, this is in another country, and says, we can promise you blah, blah, blah. You're qualified, great. Have you got a degree or have you got some qualifications? Great. They take you. And then before you know it, you're in a container being shipped from one country to the next. You don't know when the doors are going to open.
No, you don't.
And then when you go there, you think you're going to be, you're going to have a job as a nanny or a babysitter. And then they take your passport away from you and you end up being some slave to some awful industry and being
it's terrible.
exploited.
But it needs to be highlighted. We all need to know what's going on, don't we?
Absolutely. I think we should, for another time, we'll talk about that.
What about your next projects after this?
I'm not sure. I haven't got anything immediately planned. I'll probably work on pushing Black Shuck in film festivals. That's always fun. And then I'll just start working on the next short film.
So shooting in May.
Yep.
When's it going to be glued together and all edited?
We've actually already got a premiere date potentially lined up at a horror festival in Kings Lynn.
Brilliant.
October 27th. So that's our deadline, basically.
Just in the lead up to Halloween.
Exactly, Halloween time, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you both for coming in to see us.
Yeah,
thanks,
we look forward to seeing Black Shuck. And I love the fact that wherever you go in East Anglia, each county claims Black Shuck as their own, don't they?
Yeah. Well, if you pledge, you can claim it as your own.
Okay, that's plug of the week. Thanks very much. See you later, folks. Good luck with it.